What's going on, my beautiful governors? Welcome to a new Rise of Kingdoms video. So far we've done infantry and cavalry versions of this video. Now it's time for archers. Usually I would have a guest for this type of content, a guest who mains that specific troop type, has all commanders max and has ton of open field experience. We wanted to make this video with PuddleCakes, but because of our jobs and time zone difference, it was not possible. So this time I bring you guys his insight, his top pairs and his best commander choices by myself. As always, we are going to go from absolute best pair to the top 5 pairs and their best accessories for those commanders in open field. Without further ado, let's start with pair number 1.
Spartans! What is your profession?
At spot number 1, we have our latest and greatest archer commander, Prime Boudica, paired with either YSG or Nebu. There are a few things that we love about this pair. First of all, we are using the latest and strongest archer commander and we can pair her with the OG archer commander YSG. 90% of players have worked on YSG to a certain point. Some of us have him max, some of us have him as 5511, but most of us invested on him to some amount of legendary sculptures, and thanks to Boudica, with his pair, we are able to utilize our YSG. He was already really good with Ramses or Nebuchadnezzar, but with Boudica he's something else. Same goes for Nebu, he's already superb with YSG as secondary, but again, with Boudica he performs a lot better. This is the best archer pair for open field in Rise of Kingdoms at this moment. Boudica primary, YSG or Nebu secondary. And of course, best accessories for this pair are Horn of Fury and Ring of Doom. Horn for an extra rage gain, and my good god, if Ring of Doom procs at the same time with your active skill, you deal crazy amount of damage, it's absurd. Get yourself a Horn of Fury first because it is more reliable and consistent, then follow it up with a Ring of Doom. Now it's time for 2 pairs. You are using 2 archer marchers on the field. This time we have Boudica paired with YSG as our march number 1 again, because now we have Gilgamesh paired with Nebu. We have already discussed Boudica and YSG. Gilgamesh Nebu is a utility pair. What I mean by that is they're both great in open field and they also work really good for rallies. So when you have these 2 commanders maxed, not only you will have an amazing archer march for open field, but you will have an also amazing rally pair too. This pair has single target damage, high AoE, high counterattack damage, debuff and a little bit of survivability. This is a quite nice all-around pair and it's our second best archer march in Rise of Kingdoms. Accessories, you guessed it right. Well, technically you wouldn't guess it because it's already on your screen. Again, it's Horn of Fury and Ring of Doom for extra rage and increased damage. Our third best archer march for open field in Rise of Kingdoms is Amanitor and Artemisia. Just like Gilga and Nebu, this pair is also a great utility pair because now you can use these 2 commanders for both open field and garrison, whether it's an objective or your own city. They work amazing together for both situations, so by maxing Amanitor and Artemisia, you will have a very nice garrison pair and a great open field pair. And we take a look at their skills. These 2 commanders complement each other so well. First of all, we have a great amount of AoE damage from both commanders. Amanitor with her active skill will increase the damage of Artemisia, which is huge. They both have some sort of tankiness. Artemisia obviously has a lot of tankiness, and the most important thing is the silence synergy. As you guys already know, Artemisia has a 50% chance to silence herself and increase her damage by a whopping 50% when her rage bar hits 80%. However, thanks to the silence immunity of Amanitor, if Artemisia silences herself, Amanitor will prevent the silence, but you will still have the damage increase. How amazing is that? This pair works like a charm, a great open field pair and a great garrison pair. It's not very common where a pair is really good for both open field and garrison at the same time in Rise of Kingdoms. They are very unique and they are our top 3 archer march. For accessories for this pair, Puddle said that he uses dagger and Skola's coin, but optimally what you want is ring and dagger or Mora's web. Horn of Fury is not needed for this march, and with these 3 marches, we have lower target health, more skill damage taken, lots of AoE, but we are missing some additional damage buffs, lowering enemies' defense, etc. And our 4th and 5th march will target these key points, but before that, if you guys think any of the information was useful or helpful so far, please hit the like, hit the subscribe. It only takes 1 second of your time and it helps the channel more than you think. Thank you, and now let's move on to our march number 4 and number 5. For next two marchers, Puddle said that these marches are changeable and depends on the current on-field situation, or if you have access to 6 or 7 marches with the KVK technology. For now, at number 4, we have Cyrus and Henry. Because Cyrus helped Henry cast his active skill a lot, with the Horn of Fury, Cyrus the Great can actually hit a skill damage cast every 5 seconds on top of all the extra casting. Henry's expertise reduces normal attack damage taken, Cyrus reduces the skill damage taken from the target. They both increase the march speed quite a bit and makes it a lot easier to run away from cavalry marches if needed in the open field. They both have 10% chance to deal certain amount of extra skill damage. All in all, they have bunch of good synergies, and you might say Spartan Ramses is also a great pair for Cyrus already. They also have a great synergy, extra additional damage, etc. You are right, but the reason why we are not using Cyrus with Ramses is Tomyris. This brings us to our 5th march, which is, as I said, Ramses and Tomyris. If you are an archer main, you must have Tomyris. The reason is simple. The best thing archers do in Rise of Kingdoms is very high amount of skill damage, and Tomyris with her debuff greatly increases that skill damage taken of the target. Also, Tommy is a great low investment commander if you can get her to 5-1-1-5, which is really hard. She's good to go at that point because all we care is poison stacks and skill damage taken debuff. And the reason why we pair her with Ramses is because Ramses has attack 3, which means he has low skill cycle, and it benefits Tomyris a lot because more time it takes for them to cast an active skill means more poison stacks on the enemy, which equals more skill damage taken debuff. Before a monitor, you would pair your Tomyris with Artemisia because she has defense 3 and self-silence, which means again slow skill cycle to help Tomyris, but Amanitor Artemisia is just so good together, we don't want to separate them, thus we are using Ramses with Tomyris. We also have some honorable mentions if you have access to 6 or 7 marches in Season of Conquest KVK, or maybe you don't have all these commanders, and for those marchers, Puddle prefers AoE debuff, buff, support commanders such as Trajan, Ethelflaed, Honda or Joan of Arc. He would say he would choose Joan of Arc over Mulan, and the main reason is Joan provides 30% attack buff to archers, so our 6th march is something like Trajan and Joan, and if you have access to 7th march, he said that anything with Honda Tadakatsu. Honda is a great commander and works pretty much with any commander in Rise of Kingdoms, so you can use something like Honda Ethelflaed as your 7th march. This is it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and big thank you to PuddleCakes for providing all the information about archer commanders and their accessories, etc. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more Rise of Kingdoms guide, and if you guys want to watch the infantry version of this content, make sure to click on this video right here. I see you guys on that one. Bye.